Hey guys, it's Stephanie with Simarchy here, and welcome to part 4 of Let's Build featuring the Lamb family. Now, this is obviously the 4th part in the series. This video series has taken a bit longer than I expected. I guess that's an understatement. It has taken a lot longer than I expected. But basically, in part 1, I created the Lamb family. In part 2, I built the exterior of the home. In part 3, I laid out the inside of the home and placed these objects that you're seeing right now to signify which room is what. I did the doorways and, the landscaping and things like that. I didn't do the entire backyard yet. You'll see that later on. But this part 4, is finally doing the interior decor of the home. So again, this has taken a lot longer than I expected. I hope you guys don't mind. I am trying to keep the videos, around the 30-minute mark, not much longer than that, because obviously nobody wants to sit through this many videos for this long. But if you do, then of course you could binge watch. I have an entire playlist created for you. I imagine this entire series is going to end up being 6 parts, maybe. I think 6 is safe to say. So definitely subscribe and stay tuned to see the rest of the videos. But for right now, let's focus at the task at hand, which is decorating the inside of this family home. So right now I am working on the living room. So I went ahead and placed a couch over there. I'm pretty sure I changed those colors soon. But now I'm looking for a TV to sit down. I'm definitely going to need to put a floor TV in this area because of the configuration that I'm doing. It can't go on the wall because of the windows there. I could probably change the layout a bit so that the couches are facing the left wall instead, but I thought this was the best use of the space. So definitely sticking to a floor model. And right now I am going ahead and picking out a rug. Basically, since it is a carpeted room, I still think it lacks a little bit of definition, so that's why I did add that rug in there. It just sort of separates the space a bit so you could tell, okay, this is sort of the entryway in front of the door, this is the entryway into the hallway, but over here on the left is definitely the living space. And it's a little bit small. It's not cramped, but it could stand to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, it's what I have to work with. Again, if you remember from the last video, I had so many issues with placing those stairs there that I'm actually happy with the way it ended up, because this gave me the most floor space that I could have in the living room, unless I start, tearing down walls and rearranging things, which I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. I already feel like this is long enough. So we're going to deal with a smaller living space. But I think it makes up for it because everyone ends up having a pretty decent sized bedroom, especially mom and dad. As you'll see in the next video, their bedroom ends up being pretty large. They're gonna have like their own little space to relax and read and things like that. And they do, yeah, I think they have their own TV in their bedroom as well. So maybe they just spend more time outside as opposed to inside or in their bedrooms. And right here, this coffee table, I really liked it, but it felt a little bit small for the space. So all I did was just duplicate it and use the move objects on cheat to push them together to make it look like it's one larger coffee table. And sometimes when you do that, you get these weird issues with the like the graphics don't want to handle it and it starts flickering. But fortunately with that pattern and that table, I don't have any of those problems. And so now I'm injecting some color into the room. Now with this home especially, I stuck to a lot of neutral colors for the walls and for the carpeting, so that I can inject color through the furniture instead, and through the decorations, of course. Now, in real life, that's obviously a great decorating tip, because painting walls and replacing carpet can be very expensive and time consuming, whereas changing out the couch or, the color of the vase on the table is just a quick fix that you can do pretty easily without a lot of effort. So it's best to leave the neutral colors to the things that are more permanent and throw the pop of color with the decorations. Now in The Sims, of course, you can change all of that with a click of a button, so it doesn't really matter, but I wanted it to look a little bit realistic in that sense at least. And I love color. I absolutely love color. If you ask me what my favorite color is, I will hands down say rainbow. And I don't care if you say that's not a real color, it's my favorite. I mean, I could not choose. I love all colors equally. And I especially love, little color combinations that just look amazing together. I love green and orange. I really love this mint, teal, and dark blue. Some other favorite color combos are purple and green. I really like to play with colors, so hopefully you'll see a bit more of that in my builds. Sometimes I just get a little bit cautious and stick to the neutral so that everybody's happy, and obviously you could change the colors if you download the home, but since I do appreciate color so much, I'm going to try to play with it a bit more in the game. One of the main reasons I haven't moved on to The Sims 4 yet is because it doesn't include a color wheel when you're building, and I love having the freedom to use the different colors, the different patterns. I could be like, oh, I love that teal, but I want it just a tad bit darker or a tad bit lighter, and you can do that in this game, which is probably my favorite feature. I love building. It's no secret that I love building more than I love playing. So having the ability to do whatever I want pretty much is just amazing. And here I am going ahead and adding a small reading nook. The way that the living room was laid out, I was able to put the couches and the TVs over there to the side, but I do have this little empty space in front of the staircase, which it's not a big space, so I figured a small bookshelf and a small reading chair would be adequate. And I do end up changing the color of this chair to that, minty teal color to match the carpet a bit, and I love it. I think it turns out really, really cute. And, although I did say it's better to stick with neutral walls and neutral carpet, in real life I actually own a punk thrift store, and my walls here are crazy. I mean, one of them is a neon green, the other is a nice deep hot pink, and then the third wall is turquoise. The one at the very front is all windowed, so like the tiny border around it is white, but yeah, the green, the pink, and the turquoise look so good together. I remember when I first opened, people were coming in and asking, oh, are you opening a daycare? Or, oh, are you going to change those hideous walls? And I would have to be like, no, I did that on purpose. Like, I love this color combination. So I want to be able to express that more freely in the Sims games and, try to play more with accent walls and colors in the walls, which unfortunately I don't do in this video. Well, like I said, this is pre-recorded, so the only thing I haven't done yet is the upstairs, which is the children's bedrooms and bathrooms. So I might play with more color there just to have some fun. And right here, I'm inserting the video console into the TV unit. Now, there is shelving in the game with some of the expansion packs, but for whatever reason, you can't actually put the video game consoles on top of it. I remember being able to at one point, but I think that's when I used to play with custom content, and I don't do that anymore because I've had too many issues with like lagging or freezing or glitching, and I believe it was due to some bad custom content that I may have had, so I figured it would be better to just delete it all and just use, what's included with the base game and the expansion packs and the stuff packs. So my alternative to being able to put the console on a shelf would either be putting it directly on the floor or adding in an extra table next to the TV or even putting it on the coffee table. But unfortunately, I don't think any of those are great options. So instead, I opt to use the Move Objects On sheet and just tuck it inside of the unit. Now, it is still playable because you click on the TV for your Sims to be able to play the video games. You don't have to actually click on the console itself. So I will double check that when I play or test the home, of course, but I'm like 99% sure that you can still play video games even if it's hidden there with the Move Objects sheet. And now moving on to the hallway, again, neutral colors. I'm going to use a neutral carpet and neutral wall, but I have plenty of space to add in, some wall art, some mirrors, and things like that, which I believe you're going to see in the next video. Right now, I just sort of leave it those neutral colors and move on to the kitchen. All right, so here I am moving on to the kitchen, and gosh, speaking of color, there isn't really much in this kitchen, but I am going through and laying the tile and the wallpaper first. And since the carpet from the hallway is going to extend into the kitchen because it's technically one room because there was no doorway there. I just built in a temporary wall to separate it so that I can change the kitchen tile without affecting the carpet in the hallway. And I'll definitely remove those in a bit. And the wall, just keeping the same sort of beige wall that I used already throughout the living room and hallway, sticking to those color tones. Although when I do the dining room, and definitely in this video, you'll see that I play with color a bit more like I did in the living room. So right now I'm trying to figure out the best configuration for the fridge. Obviously when it was on that other wall, it wasn't ideal because of all the windows around it. There wasn't really place to put counters underneath them, so that's why I moved it to this wall instead. And this is not where I'm going to put the sink and the stove. It's just a little bit of counter space for the microwave and some other kitchen accessories, and the actual sink and stove are going to end up being on that longer right wall. But these cabinets or counters that I'm using, I use a pattern that almost looks a little bit like futuristic or like it's a circuit board or something like that, which isn't really what I was trying to do, although it ends up looking that way. I was just sort of looking for a fun geometric pattern to make it look texturized. And the counters, instead of leaving it like metal or wood, instead of leaving it metal or plastic, I'm going to put this wood on top right there, which makes it look more like it's a butcher block counter. And I do continue that same counter with the butcher block style throughout the entire kitchen. But this corner right here, when I did put that counter straight up against the wall, it definitely clipped through the window. So I'm going to find a little side table instead that actually fits that space better. And I go with this one because it looks like it just has little pull-out drawers for maybe your utensils or, silverware and things like that. And I'm just matching the color so that it looks like it actually belongs in the kitchen and wasn't just like an afterthought. It has that same butcher block type counter there. So here I'm adding just a bit of accessories to the countertops. I have my little knife block, paper towel holder, and microwave. And I notice it now, but while I was building, I didn't notice immediately that those knives are clipping into the wall there. So you'll see me utilize the move object cheats a little bit later on to fix that, just in case you're looking at it and screaming at me through the comments, hey, the knives are going through the wall. I do eventually catch that. Although I still, looking at it now, I pre-recorded a few of these, so I still never caught the white inside of the door and those windows that you could totally see on the left there. So that'll probably be fixed in like part 6, which I think will be the final part, which I haven't done yet. Now that I've gone back and seen it a few times, I hope I'll remember to change it. I mean, it's not horrible. I actually kind of like it, so maybe, I'm not sure if I'm going to change these windows to be completely brown and the door to be completely brown, or if I'm going to go through the home and change the rest of the windows, which I think the majority of them are brown all the way around, inside and out. But either way, I'm going to make them all match. I promise that'll be done before the home is uploaded to the Exchange. And of course, once that is uploaded to the Exchange, you can download it and you can use it for your Sims, or you can use the family that I created, the Lamb family, which you'll get to know a little bit better once I start building their bedrooms. I'm going to throw a bit of their personality into it. And I probably won't actually do a Let's Play unless it's requested, but I might do just a mini player test of the home, just showing the Sims using their new environment, using their new bedroom, their new hobbies, whatever I end up putting into their rooms and such. But right now I am putting in those cabinets above the counters. I don't always use cabinets, but I am trying to use them more because, I don't know, I feel like the room does seem a bit empty without them. But my issue is I can't always find ones that fit exactly right or match the decor exactly. And I never know what to do above the stove. Someone told me that there is, I think I read somewhere that there is a range hood inside of the game somewhere without having to use custom content, but I can never find it. So if you guys know where that's at, please let me know. Unless they are talking about this lighting fixture, which I'm pretty sure is a lighting fixture and not a hood vent. But I use it as one anyways because it's the closest thing I could find. And I know that like all the hood vents I've ever had always had some sort of lighting built into them, so maybe that is what that's supposed to be. I'm not sure, but either way, I'm using it now, so you like it or you don't. But I did change the lighting down to dim so it's not so noticeable. And now I'm putting in the garbage cans because I still have this huge empty wall over here. This kitchen is a lot bigger than I intended it to be. I probably could have extended the living room and added either an eat-in kitchen area, like a table and chairs right there, or I could have split it and turned it into a a dining room and a kitchen. But the way I did it, I'm just going to go ahead and fill up that space. We'll just have it be a nice large kitchen. And since I used the small recycle bin inside of the home, I did remember that you also need one on the outside. Otherwise, you can't empty the trash can. Well, you can empty the trash can, but you can't empty the small recycle bin unless the large one's outside, I believe. But either way, I remembered to put that out there as well. And since I do have all this extra space here, I am putting in sort of another butcher block area. It's actually a desk, so it's limited to what sort of kitchen items you could put on top of it. Of course, it's not going to be functional. It's just purely for eye candy. But yeah, I needed to fill up some space, so I do like the look of that one. It feels like a butcher block, like a real actual one, instead of just putting the butcher block on top of the counters. So I added in the lemonade, which I can't remember if I leave the lemonade there or not, but just some more kitchen utensils there, more paper towels, and another knife block. This one is store content. I do try to let you know when I use store content, just in case you're trying to find the item and going crazy not being able to. So yeah, those little shelves with the jugs on them are also store content. I don't have a ton of it. I mean, I have a decent amount of it, but yeah, I do like to use them just to throw some variety in the game. But if you download the home, obviously it's going to either remove them or replace them with something else. So I make sure that it's, sort of decor items or something that's not like super important to the build, so that it doesn't really take away from the home if you don't have them. And let's see, just putting in some plants and stuff. Again, all that empty space that was in there, I wasn't sure exactly what to do. So my thinking with putting the little plants there, maybe they grow their own herbs for cooking. I don't know, maybe it's just like a little inside garden area. I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but it's there and it fills up the space and I think it looks pretty. So right now I'm realizing there's still so much space in this kitchen. I mean, it's just endless. It's huge. So I'm going through and putting the bar counters, and that one's backwards, so I'll go ahead and flip it in a second. There we go. But yeah, that way it just gives you some more counter space to work on. And with the bar stools being there, it gives you some more room for the families to eat or sit down and do homework, because the dining room is sufficient, but it never hurts to have some more seating and to fill up that space there, of course. So speaking of the dining room, I'm moving on to it right now, and we're going to see exactly how cramped it ends up being. I know in the last video, my concern was that it was a little bit too small, and I'm pretty sure the way I end up doing it is like the best use of the space as it sits now. And the chairs should still be usable. I mean, I'm sure the Sims can squeeze their way into there and sit down. I don't foresee any problems, but I will player test the home, of course, before uploading it to the exchange, just to catch any little things I might have missed, so that you don't have any issues when you download the home. So here are the chairs, and I pick it up to move it just to make sure all of the chairs actually locked into place with the table. I've especially noticed that when using a chess table, that sometimes it looks like the chair's locked in, but when you go to actually have your sim sit down and play, they can't, because it has to actually join them as a cohesive piece of furniture. Otherwise, it's not usable. So that's why I just picked up the dining table and moved it a little bit to make sure all the chairs moved with it. And of course, the chairs did move with it, so it's fine. They should be able to sit at all of them. And that's my little hutch in the corner, which is kind of hard to find. I think it's under miscellaneous decor. It's definitely not under storage where you would think it is. But since I know it's there, I do know to look for it, and it just goes really well with almost any dining set that I can think of. It's a little bit, what's the word? It's not old-fashioned, I think. I think it could work for like an antique room depending on the coloring and material you put on it, but it also has like the glass and it looks like the little metal detail. I don't know, you can't really see it because I'm not zoomed in on it, but that also gives it sort of a modern feel as well. And it's just one of those pieces that looks great in any dining room. And now, let's see, I'm playing with the colors. I like this sort of dark red maroon thing here, but it seemed like a little bit too much, especially against the sort of yellowing of the furniture, the yellow tones. So I did throw in 2 accent chairs that are literally the same chair and the same pattern, just in a different color to vary it up a bit. That is something in real life that I definitely think is a cool feature. Every time I go to a furniture store, they'll have like the table set up with, 2 or 4 different color chairs. And the reason they do that is so that you can see the different colors that you could purchase the set in. And I remember always asking if I can purchase it that way with like, the white table and the red, blue, green, yellow chair. And the answer is always no. You can't buy a rainbow set. You have to buy the white set, the red set, whatever. So in this game, it's great to be able to do whatever I want with the colors without having to get entirely different pieces. Because obviously you can do that if you got like maybe a couple of accent chairs just to add to the side, although they wouldn't necessarily be part of the set unless you want to buy 2 sets and combine them, but that's just getting crazy ridiculous with money and nobody wants to do that. But actually thinking about it, I don't even have a dining table or a kitchen table or anything at my apartment. I know that sounds crazy, but as previously mentioned, my coffee table is kind of the catch-all. And I know it's bad, but I eat in my bed. Okay, I said it, I eat in my bed. Always, like even if I'm not actually like in bed eating, I'm sitting at the edge of my bed with a little TV tray in front of me, still sitting on the bed. So yeah, that's where I eat. I just live with my dad and he eats in his bedroom too, so there's not really a use for a dining table. But yeah, I think that dining room ended up turning out pretty nicely. And now I am catching the knives that are cutting into the wall and going into the bathroom, or not the bathroom, the laundry room. That's how I caught it. So I am trying to move it forward. I know you can do it. I've done it before. But I am pulling up another menu. If you type in help, like you do the shift control C to pull up the cheats menu and literally just type the word help and enter, it pulls up all the available cheats. And this is so handy because that disable snapping to slots on grid or whatever it just said is a very, very handy cheat. It doesn't always work exactly as planned, but what that is going to allow me to do in this case, as long as the counters aren't attached to each other or right next to each other, is pull them away from the wall. So now I'm turning that cheat off just to make sure it doesn't mess with anything. I know that's not the most visually appealing thing to have that crack there in between the wall and the counter, but it's the only way I could keep that little knife block, and I really like that. And I don't know, I figure we're probably not going to be playing in aerial mode too often, and this is just kind of an off section of the kitchen, so it didn't bother me so much that that I needed those flush against the wall. So that cheat helped me do that, just pulling them out a little bit. And again, such a cool cheat. It has many different ways that you can use it, but that's one of the best ways to use it, I think, is with the counters, because those counters always want to snap exactly into the grid. So I did go ahead and turn the day-night tool on just for a second because I'm playing with the lighting here in the laundry room. It still seems super, super bright. Again, as I mentioned earlier, like against certain materials or white colors, it just looks so reflective that it's annoying. So I did dim those up a bit, which I thought I did earlier, but I guess it didn't really take. But yeah, I went ahead and did that now so that this laundry room doesn't look so like mirrored. is mirrored, reflective, not mirrored. But now I'm just going through and adding, a little bit of decor. I'm still keeping the walls and the floor neutral in here because I think that the red really pops against the gray, but I wanted to add just a little bit more of decorations in here because it did feel a little bit empty. So those were store content items, those 2 shelves and the little rolling cart with the laundry on it. Again, if you download this home, it's just going to either remove them or replace them with something else. Not necessary to the function, just a little bit of aesthetic over there. And now I'm working on the bathroom, which is mom and dad's ensuite bathroom. And it's not huge. I mean, it's a pretty decent size for a bathroom. I definitely end up squeezing everything in here that I want to, although it could stand to be just a little bit bigger. In real life, I like to have huge bathrooms. Obviously, I don't have one. I wish I did. If I ever buy a house or build a house, I will literally have a gigantic bathroom with like a jacuzzi tub, lots of mirrors and counter space and a vanity in there. I don't know why, but I just love bathrooms. I love being able to take a nice bath, use a bath bomb, light some candles, and having a jetted tub would be amazing. I used to have a hot tub, but now that I moved into an apartment, I did have to sell it, and having that is probably one of the things that I miss most from living in a home, is being able to have a hot tub in the yard. If I had a jetted tub or a nice big garden tub, I can't talk. If I had a jetted tub or a nice big garden tub, I probably wouldn't complain as much, but I do have a very, very small tub, and I don't know, I don't get to take as many baths or use as many bath bombs as I would like. But yeah, I don't know. So back to The Sims, this bathroom is okay. It's a good size. Again, I get everything that I want in here, but ideally I would like a bigger one, especially when you're talking about the bathroom attached to the master bath. But who knows, maybe the house can be renovated later, or, if you download it and you decide that you don't really like the laundry feature because not everybody wants that in their game, or not everybody has the expansion pack that introduces laundry into the game, you could probably just knock that wall down and make that bathroom a little bit bigger. Because as you see here, I'm struggling with the counter space. There's not really a whole lot of areas to put it because of those windows there on the wall. And although I did like that bathtub, it just seemed a bit out of place. I feel like the tub shower combo is just a little bit more appropriate for this room. And I normally don't care if the plumbing is flush against a wall with a tub by itself, because I feel like a tub can look great in the middle of a bathroom or in front of a window. But with this one, that has like the built-in wall, I definitely felt like that looked better shoved up flat against the wall instead. So it looks like the plumbing is coming where it should. And these counters here, as you can see, clip into the wall. So I'm using my move objects on combined with the disable snapping to slots on all on, just so that I can move that away from the window without having it keep locking back into place. And again, to do that, I will have to move I think I have to move one of the counters out of the way. I'm not sure. Nope, I guess not. But yeah, I'm just scooting that over a little bit. And I did also scoot the other counter into the tub. You can't really see it because it has that dividing wall there, so it's sort of hidden. But this just makes it look like it's not going through the window, although it still is a bit awkward anyway. And the material that's on top of the counters isn't making it do like that weird flickering that it does when 2 items are overlapped and the game doesn't like it. I mean, maybe it's doing it a little bit, but I don't think it's too noticeable. And those aren't completely lined up exactly. I do fidget with them a bit more in a second, but I don't know. It's the best that I could do in this space. It's sort of an awkwardly shaped bathroom. I don't know. It's just, I probably could have built it better, but it is what it is. I think that does look a little bit better there. And we have the sink right in front of the window with a little bit of counter space so that I can throw in some accessories and things. But yeah, I did move it a little bit there. It looks better. I think that definitely looks more cohesive, and again, not clipping into the window so it's not ridiculous. And using the mirror here, I do sometimes like to use like the tall mirror that sort of covers the whole wall, but since this house does have a little bit more play on geometric patterns and pops of color, I figured that little squared rectangular tiled mirror would be perfect in here. And I'm just placing the small accessories again, like the hand soap, just things that you probably wouldn't normally remember to put in a bathroom. I remember when I first started playing, I never put soap down. I never put a toilet paper holder. I don't even know if I remembered or cared about towels, but it definitely makes the build more interesting when you add these little details. So I'm changing up the colors on the tiles again to have that more little geometric pop of color thing going on in this house that I don't think is overwhelming. I think it's very understated, but still cool. So I figure that blue and orange, you know, swirl, whatever you call it, on the tile just looks really nice. And I have the laundry basket in here. I'm going to have to remember to put laundry baskets in all of the bathrooms, so that way the Sims just don't throw their clothes everywhere. I do think they're probably gonna still throw them on the floor and such, but it's good to have the laundry baskets so that they can use those as well. And just placing a few more towels over here. I do really like those towels too. They sort of look like they're wet or have just been used, which makes the house look more lived in. And that little spa necessities stand is actually store content. So again, if you don't have that piece, it will probably disappear or be replaced with something else. But it is just an accent piece. It is not crucial to your gameplay whatsoever. So I just threw that in there so it's next to the tub and fills up that empty space over there on the floor as well. So yeah, that's the end of the bathroom, and unfortunately that's the end of this video, but I will be back in part 5 with the build of the parents' bedroom and the backyard, and then video 6 should be the completion of the series, which will include the children's bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.